Welcome in, everybody, to SEC State of Mind. That's right, we are back. I'm Taylor Davis. He is Jason Campbell. We may be familiar to some of our former listeners, Believe in Everything Auburn, the podcast we did for quite a few years. We're back. We're bigger. We're better. We are also sponsored now by FanDuel. Huge shout out to our new partners, and of course, brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network. But we've expanded, y'all. No more just Auburn. We're talking the entirety of the Southeastern Conference. And frankly, I don't think anyone knows it better than someone who played in it at such a high level. My co-host, my friend, Jason Campbell. Jay, for the new listeners, why don't you go ahead and give a little self-intro?
Well, welcome everybody. I'm just a small totem on a totem pole.
Oh, here we go.
My name is Jason Campbell, if you didn't know. Played back in 2000 to 2004 for the Auburn Tigers. Now do play-by-play with Andy Burchin as the color analyst for Auburn football. And you can catch us on the radio on Auburn Sports Network each and every weekend covering the Auburn Tigers. But like Taylor said, we're not just talking Auburn on this show anymore. It's SEC State of Mind. So that means I get to talk all SEC quarterbacks, receivers, linebackers, D linemen, get to cover the sidelines of a lot of different teams. So that's going to be fun because that means we get different guests on the show from here to some maybe get some players as well. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But let's just start with some of the old heads first. Bring them back to being relevant again. Get them back on the show. Get their face out there. Let people get to know them again. So much happening in the SEC this year. So much excitement.
No, I think right now is the perfect time to actually expand our podcast to talk about the SEC, not just the expanded college football playoff, but frankly, the landscape of college football has been very different in the past couple of years. We actually haven't seen an SEC team in the national championship game in the past couple of years. So this feels like it could be a big season for the conference. Everyone's tired of hearing about that. They're tired of hearing about the Big Ten and how they've risen to dominance. The SEC is still stacked top to bottom. If anyone was able to watch that Netflix documentary that just came out any given Saturday, I thought that was so well done and really depicted the truth of the SEC, which is what we're going to talk about a lot on this podcast. It goes beyond the game. It goes beyond the X's and O's. Life in the SEC, it's about the culture, and it truly is a state of mind. And Jason experienced it firsthand. I'll give a little background of myself so y'all aren't like, why the heck is this girl talking about this? What does she know? Fair. I also did go to school at Auburn, very proud Auburn alum, but I have worked for ESPN since 2014, since I graduated from Auburn. I have worked in a variety of ways behind the scenes and now as a sideline reporter. So I am true boots on the ground, getting to be in the action, covering all of it, speaking with the coaches and the players week in and week out. So we truly do have a good pulse on what's going on in and around the conference. Our Auburn allegiance is true, but we are members of the media and we know how to be unbiased. So we're here to bring it all to you each and every week of football season and beyond. We're talking all sports here, people. All right. I move on to gymnastics after that. Jason is super involved with basketball, a former hooper himself. He's also playing real coy. All right. My guy played 10 years in the NFL. So he's got a lot of former teammates that also had their fingerprints in the SEC. So we're hyped to bring you all the action, and we're excited to get season kicked off here in just about 8 days. I guess technically we're on week 0. There will be college football on our TVs this weekend, but some massive marquee matchups in week 1 in the SEC, Jay. We didn't say we were going to do this on this first episode, but I mean, we got to talk about some of these. South Carolina starting with Virginia Tech. I mean, Shane Beamer going up against the very program that exposed him to football, with his dad being the legendary Hall of Famer coach. LSU Clemson. I mean, take the entire episode to talk about the storylines coming out of that game. All pressure on that opener for Brian Kelly. Alabama starts off with Florida State, and you may scoff at Florida State given what they did last season, but it's a new year, and they are tired of hearing about how abysmal last year was. So a lot of newness, and of course, Auburn Tigers start with a Friday night game down in Texas playing Baylor. What's the main one you've got your eye on for week 1?
It's so hard to say, right? You talk about Texas, Ohio State. That game Texas pushed for that game to be a night game. I think Ohio State pushed for it to be a night game, but Texas said they wanted to play it early. And there's reasons why. You
Sure.
go into the big shoe. It's a hostile environment. If you give people all day to think about it, get riled up at nighttime, you want to get in there and catch them sleeping if you're Texas.
Sure.
You want to get that game going early. So I like that one because everyone talks about how great Arch Manning is, right? We haven't really
Yeah,
seen but 2 to 3 games,
I know.
so the story's kind of already been pre-written for him because of his uncles and his granddad, and
Hmm.
he has yet to play, relevant games just yet.
Yeah.
And which I feel like it's sky's the limit for the guy because he is being supported by so many people. And he has had the reins of learning from MVP quarterbacks before that's in his family. So of
Absolutely.
course there's going to be a lot of people watching him, which comes with a lot of pressure. But if anyone can handle it, it's him.
Yeah.
But then you just talk about Clemson, LSU. Two quarterbacks that are projected to be first round draft picks.
Mhm.
You talk about Nussmeier, and then you talk about Cubnick, right?
Klubnik.
Yeah,
Okay, new listeners, let's also tell you Jason's not great at names, but he knows
Yeah,
ball, so
I
let's
know.
go.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so Klubnik. So you're talking about two teams that are trying to get their programs back to dominance.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly has started off slow since he's been at Auburn. I mean, been at LSU in his first 2 games, starting the season, the first 2 years. They've lost those openers. Let's see if this year he can get off to a good start against
Yeah.
a very hostile team in Clemson. Who's going to be the better team? Which Death Valley shows up? So storylines of that game. Then my
Battle of the
final one.
Tigers.
Auburn Baylor. No one's really talking about this game as much.
Mhm.
No, Auburn has a new offensive line for the most part. Uh, on that line, they've shifted some guys around.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about Kedrick Falk on the defensive end, but then you talk about Eric Singleton, the number one transfer portal receiver that came in from Georgia Tech. This
Mhm.
guy's electric. And then you talk about Jackson Arnold, the transfer quarterback from Oklahoma, and everyone kind of wants to pre-write the script before he's even played a game.
Right.
So you got that going on. But then the highly touted Deuce Knight, the 5-star quarterback that Auburn signed, will he see action early in the season and will he get playing time? So there's so many storylines going into this season. So many teams I can look at on these SEC power rankings, Taylor. I know Texas is number one, all the way down to Mississippi State being last.
Mm.
I think this thing's going to shift around a little bit in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
I think Florida's a lot better than what people anticipate. I don't see them as 8. I don't see Auburn as 12.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not being biased, I just think they
Mhm.
have too much talent on that roster. And my sleeper this year of what team is going to be better than they were last year, besides Auburn, is Oklahoma.
'Kay.
You got John Mateer at quarterback, and then
Mhm.
you got Jordan, the running back from came over from Cal.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Jaden Knott. Jaden Knott is phenomenal. I covered him at
Yeah.
Cal as well. I agree with you. I think that Auburn has to take a step forward. That opening game at Baylor is really compelling too because Walker White transferred to Baylor in the offseason. He was in the quarterback room at Auburn the past couple of years. So this is a guy that is familiar with Auburn's offense and Auburn's system, and that's how they open. But for Jackson Arnold, he's a Texas kid. That's what he was, a 5-star coming out of high school. He's from Denton, Texas. He gets to return to his home state and play football on a Friday night. I mean, that just is a script that you got to love, right? So, a lot of excitement starting off in week 1 for the SEC. And I think, like we saw last year, Jason, with the expanded playoff and so many of the SEC teams that were on the bubble, South Carolina felt like they had an argument. Alabama, Ole Miss, there were several, Missouri, 9-win teams that really had compelling arguments, and the committee was in a tough situation. And you saw arguably some of the best teams in the country by the end of season sitting on the outside of the playoff because what you do the entirety of it is going to be taken into account. So I think for the SEC and the way the schedule sits, even as early as week 1, teams have to make a statement because everything is being notated from the jump. I put so much emphasis on the LSU Clemson game. I think that everything that's riding on LSU right now is justified. The returners, Garrett Nussmeier, not only returning, he's like 85 years old. He's back for his 6. He's been there 5 years, 6 years. That is unheard of in today's age of college football. You've got so much continuity with so many of them returning. Hello, Harold Perkins is back and he's healthy. I mean, the depth that team has, and a coach like Brian Kelly, who has been known to do huge things in year 3. So I
Yeah.
think that if he goes 0-3 in season openers, your season is dramatic from week one. You know what I mean? But
Well, yeah.
Clemson feels very good about the team that they're fielding early too.
Yeah, and a team that we haven't talked about that has another experienced quarterback that can kind of throw a domino effect in all of the SEC this year is Vanderbilt still.
Oh
You know,
dear.
Clark Lee's the head coach. You know, he's got
Love
that
Coach Lee.
team playing with a lot of energy. Their
Mhm.
stadium has gotten renovated,
Yep,
so they feel like a real part of the SEC. And
they
then
should.
Pavia comes back for what, sixth, seventh, 10th year. You know that he's playing college football, but he plays with a chip on his shoulder.
He does.
Watching the SEC that show on Netflix, it showed me a lot of behind the scenes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we already know about the pressure that coaches are under, but then they got a chance to see the inside of what these players and how they get ready for games. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot at stake this year. Alabama starting a new quarterback. Milroe's gone.
Yeah.
Ty Simpson named the starter. You know, what would they look like this year? Would they lean heavy on the run, even though they have a star receiver on the outside? So there's so many questions to still be answered. Georgia, new quarterback. You know, Gunnar Stockton. This is
Mhm.
his opportunity. So you got veteran guys mixed with young guys, and then you got the middle guys with transfer guys that came in from other schools
Correct.
playing at the position that can kind of help your team win games and also can lose games if you don't have that position kind of have a hold on it. So I'm excited to see this year. I just feel like this is going to be a big time season for the SEC. And I like these big time games up front. I
Me
do.
too.
I think it doesn't hurt you as much if you do lose it. Like you get a chance to recover, but you're not afraid to play that type of schedule. Some teams
Yes.
are afraid to play those type of schedules, and I think it hurts them ultimately. But I think playing in this type of game, you know, if LSU wins this game, it rewrites what they lost the last 2 years from the openers.
It's
You know,
also a huge
right?
confidence boost.
Yeah, you play Florida State, you play USC, and now you're playing Clemson as
Yeah.
your openers. Like
Mhm.
you're not afraid to challenge yourself. I like that aspect.
Me too.
You know, Auburn going on the road to Baylor. Most people say, how come Auburn don't get the home game since they supposed to be considered a bigger school first? Now it just shows that hey, if you want to be Auburn want to be who they say they want to be this year, then you have to go on the road and win that game. And we
Absolutely.
got to show that we can win on the road.
Mhm.
Georgia, everyone expects you to contend. You know, it's just been the narrative since Kirby's been there. He's kind of become the second Saban, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, everyone expects that narrative. But we haven't talked about Tennessee. Nico left. Where
Whew.
does Tennessee go? We know they're a defensive-oriented football team. We know they're really talented on that side of the ball. Who's the quarterback for Tennessee this year? How do they get it done?
Mhm.
So this is going to be a season to watch for a lot of reasons, and I'm excited.
I agree. I think that there's a lot that are still, in a situation that you're questioning a lot and you lack expectation, which at times can be incredible. I mean, Arkansas, Kentucky, you're not entirely sure what you're getting from them. I think a dark horse is also South Carolina. Len'Norris Sellers is incredible, and he's returning with experience under his belt and some pieces around him that he built a lot of great rhythm with toward the end of last season. So there is plenty to be excited about in the SEC. Working for ESPN, we actually just had our college football seminar a couple weeks ago, and Commissioner Greg Sankey was kind enough to join us and speak to us a little bit about the upcoming season and the landscape as a whole. And man, they are just as fired up as ever that the SEC isn't slowing down anytime soon. And that narrative being out there is ridiculous. The SEC is still top to bottom the toughest conference in college football. And I think this season is going to showcase that. We're going to give you a little more insight on our new show, the format, what you can expect as season goes on. But I did just want to ask you one more question, Jay, to tie into your history and experience in it. And like I mentioned, an incredible NFL career as well. How did playing in the SEC equip you and prepare you for the next level?
Oh, most definitely. I felt very prepared when I got to the NFL. The only thing that changed was grown men, you know,
Right.
like that you're playing against, like guys that you watched on TV probably since you was in high school. Now you're in the
Yeah.
same locker room with. Now I think just kind of get to that aspect of understanding like what it means to be a pro is the biggest thing. You know,
Mm,
you're now a professional. You don't go to class. Your class is studying your playbook. Your class is showing up to practice and being prepared, not getting prepared, but
yeah.
already being prepared. But the speed of the game, it was a little bit of a difference, but it wasn't that much of a difference because a lot of guys I played on Saturdays, I faced in on Sundays
For sure.
and in the game. So the biggest thing is just learning how to be a pro, which is Taylor. Let's be honest; these guys in college now are semi-pros.
Exactly. They
This
are.
is so, if you're getting fined for being late, or if you're not showing up on practice on time or meetings or doing all these different things, you get paid now to play in college football and
Mhm,
basketball and baseball and
mhm.
whatever sport. Like, so you have to treat yourself and handle yourself as a pro. And I think the biggest thing for me is how you eat. A lot of people don't talk about that.
Of
You
course, it
know?
comes back to food for
Yeah,
you, Jason Campbell. It
it
was
comes back
only
to
a matter
food.
of time. You
Yeah.
lasted 15 minutes before you
But
brought it back to food.
it comes back to that because you have to take care of your body. What you put in your body
It's true.
is your job now.
Yeah.
So you can't be, doing all these different, drinking sodas all day, or,
Mhm.
all those different things that you may love just because you have to perform. You get paid off.
Yeah.
Your performance presents your opportunities in the future.
You're right. You're right. I mean, so many of these guys that we watch every Saturday in the SEC that I'm lucky enough to cover hear their names called in the NFL draft come April. So it's pretty special. And it all begins in just a matter of days. So here's the rundown of how this is going to work. Like I said at the beginning, we were formerly Believe in Everything Auburn. We are now SEC State of Mind. If you were a subscriber to our previous episode, fear not. You will automatically remain a subscriber to this one. The name at the top of the podcast page is going to be different, but otherwise still the same. You'll get notified every time we release an episode. All of our previous episodes will still be in the podcast app. So if you're an Auburn fan and you're just missing some of that Auburn talk, you can go on back to that. No worries. If you are new here, though, welcome. We're so pumped to have you. And all of our Auburn listeners, send this to your friends that are fans of other SEC programs because now we're taking care of all of it, right? So make sure you search SEC State of Mind wherever you get your podcasts in the podcast app. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. You can also find us on YouTube. We will always be doing a video episode. And here's the kicker this year, a lot of our episodes are going to be live. All right. So you're going to want to put it in your calendar. Try and join us whenever you can because we will be actively reading the comments, interacting when we do live episodes. So our plan of action for the season is to go live Tuesdays at 1 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock Eastern. So if you're Central Time, you can plan to join us on your lunch break on Tuesdays. Okay. So you can go on to YouTube and we'll be streaming live Tuesdays, 1 o'clock Central Time. If you can't catch us live, don't worry. The episodes will remain up, video on YouTube, and then audio wherever you get your podcasts. If we aren't able to do it live, you can still expect our episodes to be uploaded every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Central. That way we'll be just a couple days off game day. We can give you a thorough recap of what happened across the SEC. We can also look ahead to the next weekend and be on the lookout for some incredible guests that we are going to have for you this upcoming season. So Tuesdays, 2 Eastern, 1 o'clock Central, SEC State of Mind, brought to you by FanDuel and our partners at Believe Podcast Network. So with that, I think we're going to say goodbye for the last week of the calm. And then the storm hits us next week, people. Week 1, and there is no shortage of things to talk about. We gave you a little teaser, but there is plenty more where that came from. But Jason, next week, like you said, you are on Auburn Sports Network. You are the radio color analyst for Auburn football. So where can everyone find those broadcasts on game week if our Auburn fans are curious?
Yeah, so like you can always go to Auburn Sports Network, our page and everything, and follow us during the game. There is a way that you can sometimes mute your TV and kind of
And
program
listen.
it play by play with us as you watch it or watch it on TV as well. So
Mhm.
I have more of those instructions next time that we're on air because I need to talk to our producer how you can do that because I know a lot of
Smart.
people say, "Hey, we want to hear you and Andy while we watch the game." Now, Taylor, I'm pretty sure when you're covering an Auburn game on TV, they'll say we'll mute Jason and Andy and we'll listen to Taylor
See,
report
when that
on TV.
happens, we're going to be in a
So,
battle because
right,
you watching me on TV, you listening to Jay. No,
yeah,
Jason and Andy and Ronnie Brown on the sidelines. Is
yeah.
that
So we
still
got Ronnie
happening?
Brown still doing the
All right.
sideline. Brett Edens this year has taken over for Will.
Okay.
Will stepped aside this year, so now got another 04 member down that just
Nice.
joined the staff. And everyone knows Auburn announced yesterday a couple more national championship teams, right?
They sure did.
Then I get this whole text and email. One thing, I've already felt like I was a champion.
You were.
And people say, well, everyone has their opinion about who would have won the game, us, USC, and all of that.
Sure.
I say this. congrats to SC. They had an outstanding year that year. They
Sure.
won. They won. They played in the game. They won. But how can you punish us
Mhm.
for doing what we supposed to do
Mhm.
and not get accomplishments for it? You
Yeah.
know. But from that standpoint, this thing is about winning at the end of the day. And Auburn has had some great teams throughout the years and everything. They kind of didn't get recognized because, you only kind of recognize the Associated Press
Sure.
and sometimes other great teams that slide on the radar. Now, however you want to do it, you do it. But at the end of the day, I think it's just bringing notoriety to the program that it has a rich history of winning.
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of gotten lost over the last couple of years because we haven't been relevant for real since 2020. And that
Sure.
year we were 6-4 during a COVID year.
Mhm.
So I just feel like this younger generation, if you was a seventh grader and you're now becoming a senior in high school, you don't know the rich tradition of Auburn winning because you've never seen Auburn win more than 6 games since you've been kind of watching college football.
Very true.
So it just brings back a lot of notoriety. Cam Newton will have his jersey retired this year.
Mhm.
That'll be awesome. That'll be night game against Georgia. Bo Jackson is getting recognized this year. Pretty sure they're probably towards the latter of the year, maybe against Alabama. So there's a lot of things that Auburn is doing is trying to bring light back to the program and to
Sure.
enlighten it to everybody. And a lot of SEC schools are, but
Yeah.
Auburn's not doing anything different than everybody else across the country that's claimed titles throughout the years based
Right.
off what the NCAA say the rules are.
Yeah.
So just from that standpoint, but when you're losing, Taylor, everything kind of gets blown out of proportion.
For sure.
When you're winning, it's
You can
not
do
that.
no wrong.
You can do no
That
wrong.
is the case in the SEC for sure, because these fans expect to dominate every year, and that's just what SEC fans have become accustomed to. So it sets up for a big year. So make sure you follow along as Jason covers the Auburn Tigers week in and week out. I will be on a different college football game every single weekend. My week one assignment, I am getting the Mississippi State opener. So it'll be
Yeah.
really interesting what this program does. Year two under Jeff Lebby. We saw, obviously it was a disappointing season for the Bulldogs last year, but Blake Shapen, the quarterback, returns. There's some returning pieces around him. And look, you got to feel like they're going to take a step forward from last year. There's no chance it continues to go down. And they open their season in their home state, but a little bit down the road, they're going to Hattiesburg and opening against Southern Miss, who honestly has had some sneaky good talent come out of that program over the years. So very excited for that opener. It will be a noon Eastern kickoff on ESPN. So we will be following the final Lee Corso headgear pick on College Game Day. So make sure you check us out Friday night, Jason, Saturday, your girl. Also in the comments, if you've got any Hattiesburg recommendations, if you've got any Waco recommendations, let us know. If you're an Auburn/Mississippi State fan and you're going to be at either of these games, let us know what you're up to. You got a cool family tailgate you're going to be having. You got a unique story that you want to share about your fandom or this matchup. Let us know in the comments. We want this show to be super collaborative with the SEC fans and make sure that all fan bases have a place and feel represented here. And obviously, if there's any cool stories, I could even get it on ESPN. So let's do it. All right.
All
I'm
right.
super excited for the season ahead, Jay. And I think it's going to give us a really cool opportunity to expand our outreach. We had a great time doing our Auburn show, but this one's going to be even better.
Yeah, I can't wait. I get a chance to smell tailgate food all over again.
Oh, here we go.
It's been months,
I
and
know.
now the season starts. That good old Kaneka sausage.
Sausage.
Yeah, sausage. My bad. But
Nothing's changed. Any of our returning listeners,
It's changing. Yeah.
we're the same.
Only thing
All
changed
right.
is just the title.
I know. Let's do it, people. Tuesday is 2:00 Eastern, 1:00 Central Time. SEC State of Mind. Let's go.
Peace.